Good morning, you strange and wonderful weirdos. I'm John.
I'm Stacey.
It's Wednesday, November 23rd. And here's why. Today's strange.
Okay, so let's start off with something that scientists are doing that's interesting. They do that sometimes.
Yeah.
Scientists are investigating signs of ancient human civilization underwater.
Oh, that is interesting.
Isn't it? It's supposedly called an underwater Stonehenge. That's what they're calling it.
Well,
so
not very creative, but interesting.
No. Now, archaeologists are trying to piece together the mystery of an underwater trail of ancient rock piles or cairns. Cairns that stretch for miles under Lake Constance, which is a glacial lake that lies between Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. And they claim that they appear to have been made by humans who lived some 5,500 years ago.
Oh,
yes.
5,500?
Mm-hmm. 5,500 years ago.
Yeah, no, I got the 55. I got that.
So the team is led by Urs Lusinger, who's an archaeologist at the Museum of Archaeology of the Canton of Thurgau.
It's at the Canton of Thurgau, though?
Yeah, something like that.
I was wondering if Urs went out there.
Urs.
I hadn't seen Urs in a while.
I know.
It was...
He claims that the piles are several dozen feet wide with heights up to 6 feet, and that they're very impressive structures that would have required a lot of effort and time to build. Now, they are underwater right now, but they claim that during the time, the Neolithic time that these would have been built, that would have been the shoreline, either the shoreline or very close to the shoreline.
So it seems to me that the dating may be wrong.
Right.
What major flood contributed to those being under 5,000 years ago? It seems like 15,000 years ago. Maybe.
Right.
We know that we're looking 12,800 years, right?
Right.
That would have made sense. Like most other things that are flooded now. And I don't know, that's just strange. I'm sure something contributed to it.
Well, it's a glacial lake, so
yeah.
I guess it's, as the ice is melted, it's raised up. They said that it's probably 3 to 5 meters higher than it was. And it also depends on the seasonal fluctuation of the lake level, because I guess there's a lot of snow in the Alpine region.
I'm sure it does, but in the recorded history, it's not fluctuated.
Very true.
So a couple thousand years that we would have remembered, you know what I mean?
Right. Now, they're just basing that date off of a study that was done last year. So they weren't real specific about how they came up with that date. I mean, it is stone, so, it could be.
Well, being stone makes it hard because you can't date it.
Right.
Being underwater makes it a little harder because usually with stone, to date it, you get the grime or whatever's on the stone.
Yeah, and here they have to dive and see what they can find. Now, they say that archaeologists have previously unearthed the remains of stilt house villages known as pile dwelling settlements that were built by Neolithic peoples around the lake thousands of years ago.
Those stilt house people, they knew, didn't they?
Yeah.
Everybody's making fun of them back then.
Yeah, and they're like, why you got your house on stilts?
They're like, hey, Yeehawn, what you building with your stilt house, eh? And he's like, yay. You wait, you find out, yay. That I'm good authority. That was how they talked.
I'm sure it was.
And, unfortunately for Yeehawn, there was more water than his stilts.
Right. His stilts were not high enough.
Gave it a good college effort.
Now, it says that there are 170 of these cairns.
Wow.
So they believe that
they call that a kim in the level of cairns. When it gets to a certain level of cairn, it's a kim cairn.
Is it? He claims that would be too much for just one village population. So he believes that maybe several villages work together to build such an impressive structure.
Oh, no.
I mean, they're really just throwing spitball on this here.
So that would be, all the other villages came and was like, yeah, may we stay, with you? Yeah, you can. Well, we hear that you've got the plan, that we won't get flooded where ye at.
You got that language nailed down, don't you?
Yeah.
And then it also says that there are new finds that show there are also such cairns on the northern shoreline in Germany. Now, they have no idea what these cairns are for. They're, humongous. all spaced out, lined in a row. So they've thrown out some suggestions. I mean, these are really just theories. They have no idea. They claim,
archaeologists.
yes,
my favorite.
that they could possibly be artificial islands built into the lakes, possibly fishing platforms, maybe sites for burials, although they haven't found any
Dead
actual
bodies.
burials.
Yeah.
And they don't really know what those people did for burials.
It's gotta have it.
Border fortifications, possibly a calendar based on the solstices, or even some kind of cultic astronomical display.
That's close enough. Whenever they don't know what it is, they think it was something that used for, sacrifices or some kind of religious ceremony.
If you did sacrifices on them, that would be really smart because there's water, so there wouldn't be a lot of cleanup.
No.
Just do the sacrifice, wash it away.
I think most sacrifices happen around water.
You think?
I believe so.
Smart.
The one that they did with you, that was definitely smart.
Was it?
Chaining it to the rock.
Oh.
The one you dream about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't like to talk about that one.
Sorry. Well,
With the big waves coming in.
Has to be a past life.
I am afraid of water.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I mean, it
or
has
being
to
held
be
in water.
It has to be a past life.
All right. Well, very cool find. I have no idea how they're going to figure out what those things are for, but
I don't know.
interesting.
I mean, underneath all the water, because if you look and go back again, Younger Dryas and all this, when we had some global catastrophe, which they pretty much think was, and an instant melt, right?
Right.
Big old thing of instant melt, and the water went everywhere. It really, you can look at maps. You can look at at Google Earth, right? And you can see where it goes down. You can see offshore, the cliff, the continental shelf.
Right, where it...
Yeah, you can see the continental shelf. Yeah. You can see where it goes down. And apparently there was civilization because everybody always lives next to the water.
Right.
So when it happened, God knows what you could find down there.
Oh, I know. If you just searched all along.
Yeah,
just that far out into the water.
I guarantee you there's a lot. We should be doing that instead of going deep space, in my opinion.
Right.
There's not a whole lot you can do in space. I mean...
No.
It takes a while,
Well, this is cool. I hope they keep updating it because I think they're going to keep doing the dives and doing the studies. So, all right. So let's move on. Speaking of space, let's talk about an update to the Artemis One mission.
Oh.
And just a couple of strange things that happened. Now, there was an article that was out that claimed that when they did the launch, that they didn't allow any of the news people to photograph the launch pad after the launch. They strictly forbid them from taking any pictures of the SLS launch pad after the launch was over.
We know why that is.
Well, I did see an article about it, and they thought it was really odd and strange. And so now there's been another article because there was a news conference recently where they were updating everyone about the mission and how everything was going. And so they started off, the Orion spacecraft's doing great. The mission's going really good. Some of the systems are working better than they expected. There was been very little errors so far, all positive. And but the mission manager, Mike Serafin, he did acknowledge that the extreme thrust of the Space Launch System rocket did cause some damage to the mobile launch tower that supports the rocket, before it launches.
Melted the piss out of
the
it.
one that they wouldn't let them take pictures of, He claims, and now this is the stuff that he claims happens, okay? So there was damage at the base of the launch stand, where the boosters produce thrust. Some of the pneumatic lines that carry gases to the vehicle were broken. The violent shaking also broke the access elevator and blew its doors off. And they said, while some of this damage is a little greater than expected, it's still all fixable and it'll be ready for the Artemis 2 mission. So I thought that was really funny because... boy, they really rushed through that thing. They pushed that to get done because it went so much longer and they spent so much more money on it than they were supposed to, only for it to basically be rushed at the end.
It blew the damn doors off the elevator.
I know. You can't even use the elevator now. And it melted the bottom. I mean, it was bad enough that they didn't want anyone taking pictures of it. So none of the media got pictures. We just have to take their word for what's wrong with it. It could actually be much worse than this. I mean, you never know, right?
No, I mean, you don't. And imagine the heat that it took to melt that stuff, I mean, imagine how hot that had to be. And it wasn't like it was for a prolonged time.
Right.
It's basically boom and it's up.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we watched it. It's just nuts.
They spent like, they throw water on it the whole time, that it's launching. But they billions of dollars didn't it cost? Didn't it cost billions of dollars?
Of course it did. It cost billions of dollars to
Crazy.
think about it.
Well, there you go. At least they said it would be ready, and I suppose the
mission,
spacecraft's going well.
The mission's going great.
It is going great.
The mission's, I keep up with it every day. The mission's going fantastic. It's way better than expected. So we can expect, what really grinds my gears though?
What's that?
As with all the billions of dollars we spent, they sent back a black and white picture of the Earth.
Did they?
And it wasn't even HD. You know how, like, I can get a picture right now of, I don't know, freaking Denmark, if I wanted to make a screensaver.
Right.
You can get, like, high definition photos, and they're just beautiful, gorgeous, and all this. It looks not blurry. Right. But kind of like they use their iPhone 2, And
well, we got these laying around. Let's just use these.
I was like reading the mission updates and stuff, and they're like, we did get this wonderful photo of the Earth in black and white. And I'm like, why the F is it in black and white? Like,
no idea.
We're known because of our blue planet,
Right.
And you like to see it like all the aliens see it when they're coming in.
And all its glory. I saw this article that I thought was really funny. They had pictures of the Orion spacecraft, the one that's actually in space. And I was looking at the pictures, so like, oh, that's fantastic. They have these pictures. And I had to stop and think, how in the world did they get these pictures from the outside? Like, who's taking these pictures? This is the spacecraft that's up. Apparently, there's some kind of camera, like, mounted way out on the end of the wing or something. But it was weird.
Of course there is.
They're nice in color, though. They're nice color pictures.
Yeah, well, the aliens take nice pictures. It's us who don't want you to see the flat Earth.
Right. Oh, is that what it is?
It's almost like they want to give them fuel. These guys get all worked up, and I make fun of them on their forums, right? I'll use a name like Flat Freddy and get accepted on a Facebook group. I get in there. Well, I won't be able to use that one anymore.
No, you'll have to change it.
But I'll get in there, and I'll let them get going. I'll get them going. And then I'll just start making the flat jokes, and all this stuff. We all have our entertainment, and I think it's great that you believe that. I do. I'm not saying I don't believe that or I do believe it. I'm just saying I do weird things for entertainment.
Some compelling arguments there.
But
you do some weird things for entertainment.
Anyway, it just gets me going because they could easily take, photos of Earth that are glorious. And even on the way out, like, hey guys, here's this 30-second video of us departing our mother planet, and you can really see the beautiful curve, or
maybe it's something that happens to the cameras when the rocket turns into animation.
Yes.
Maybe they can't do
that wonderful moment of animation,
the color pictures with the animated rocket.
Okay. Moving on.
All right, so let's move on to this awesome story from France about a giant goldfish weighing 67 pounds that was caught by a fisherman.
It's going to be hell to get to the toilet.
67 pounds, 4 ounces. Now, this enormous specimen was found in a fishery in France by British angler Andy Hackett, who spent over 25 minutes reeling the fish in. Now, they knew about this fish. She's nicknamed the carrot, and she is a hybrid species of a leather carp and a koi carp, which are traditionally orange in color, like a goldfish. And she's thought to be more than 20 years old. Now, she was placed in Blue Water Lakes Fishery in Champagne, France by Jason Cowler when she was just a guppy. And he claims that they put her in about 20 years ago to give something different for the customers to fish for. And since then, it's just grown and grown, and she's very, very elusive. Like, it's really hard to catch her.
Obviously.
And this angler, Andy Hackett, knew about the carrot. Knew that she was in there, but didn't think that he would ever catch her. And he did get a hold of her. It took him 25 minutes, reeled her in, got a lot of really nice pictures, checked her out. She's fine, and tossed her back in for somebody else to try and catch.
So it's
huge fish.
So it's not really a goldfish.
Well, I mean, that's what goldfish are.
Is it?
I think so.
I don't know.
I feel like I read somewhere that goldfish grow to their environment. Like if you keep them in a little tank, they'll stay small. And then if you put them, I think koi fish are like that. If you put them in a big tank, they'll get bigger. It's very strange.
Home, remember that god-awful Japanese restaurant? Like, There was a Japanese restaurant back at one of our places we lived that shared the same name as one we liked.
Right.
It was like a satellite version of it, and they had the little tank. Because the nice one, you'd walk in, and there's like a Japanese bamboo forest, and you walk.
There's like the big
you walk over the wood, and then there's the fish. What are they called? I can't remember, but
koi fish. It's like koi pond.
Yeah, the Japanese fish that they come in. It's like, how you doing? But they had those, swimming through little fake streams and stuff. You went to this one, and there's a regular sized fish tank. And there's this big fat ass fish, big orange fish, and he's like up against the glass, like
just wiggling in there.
Please help me, God. And there was remember there was one huge bastard,
and a bunch of little ones swimming around.
A couple of little ones who were just taunting him the whole time, or they thought it was their god,
one of the two, right? I do remember that.
I felt so bad for that fish. Every time I'd walk in, the son of a bitch, I mean, you can't help but look at you. They got eyes on each side of their head. It's just really, really crazy. What a crazy place that was. That's where that lady also that owned that place always pretended she knew me. But everybody. And I felt so special the first time I went in. Right. And she's like, hey, hello, long time no see, huh? And I was like, yeah,
it's a really good possibility she did remember you.
I was in there with, some guys from work from out of town, and I'm showing them, and they're like, oh, hey, you come here a lot? Yeah, they remember me, yeah. 2 minutes go by, and here comes some, just redneck looking dude, and he comes in, and she's like, oh, hey, long time no see, huh? Well, my friend, my friend, former boss, looks over at me, he's like, she must know him too. Moving on.
All right, moving on. Just for the record, that goldfish is twice the size of any other, the largest one they thought they had ever caught. It was only 30-some pounds. It's 67. Twice as big.
If you really want to screw with cats, show them that thing.
So our cat would be terrified of that. All right, let's move on to this last story. And this is about a visitor at a Mayan pyramid who climbed it and made the crowd furious. They threw water and stuff at her.
Oh, you're not supposed to climb the pyramid?
Not this one. So this is the El Castillo, which is an ancient step pyramid in the Chichen Itza archaeological site.
Yes.
Yes, and the climbing on that one has been prohibited since 2008. There's signs and everything. You're not supposed to climb on it. I think it's just to protect it because of how old it is. But this visitor decided...
That freaking pyramid is thousands of years old, and it had all kinds of growth on it until somebody figured it out.
Right, but that's not really the point. The point is they asked people not to climb it, and she did.
All right.
And she got to the top, and then when she came down, people were yelling at her in Spanish. They're saying things like lock her up and jail, 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 and throwing water at her and knocking her hat off her head and grabbing her arms because she disrespected the location. Of course, this was a blonde girl. I don't know if she was American, but I think she probably was, which is awful. Terrible way to represent tourism.
It was terrible of these bastards for hollering and throwing water at the poor girl who maybe didn't know that it wasn't allowed. You can look at it both ways.
Who maybe didn't know that the ropes and the signs meant not to climb on it.
You said she was blonde.
This is true. I dare say she was probably just taking a social media pic or something, or it was a stunt. Who knows?
It was horrible. It was horrible. And, the thing about it is it always embarrasses me because obviously I agree with Stacey on this. You want to put off the best, foot forward that you can. And I always try to be like the Japanese. Whenever I'm in doubt, it's be like the Japanese. So much respect for everything. My favorite thing is watching the Japanese subway system where everybody's quiet.
Oh, I know.
And polite. It's... If we could all just be like that, we could have nice things.
Right.
On that terrible disappointment, here's why. No, it's not.
No.
That was why.
Yeah, that was why.
Today is strange.